really not scared. You're not scared. Not scared.
Hey, it's your girl Sugary Girl Candy 2012, and I'm here to bring you guys a new video. So, without dragging this on, I'm just gonna get right into the article or the article discussion or whatever. So, I came across this article that read dev on whether the Xbox Scorpio should have exclusives considering the install base of the Xbox One. Now, I don't know if he meant install base as in it would be hard for people that's on the Xbox One to go from the Xbox One to the Xbox Scorpio, or if he means because the Xbox install base, the Xbox One, excuse me, install base isn't as big as it was on for the Xbox 360, because a lot of people, at least that I know personally, jumped from the 360 to the PlayStation 4 because they didn't like how Microsoft basically opened up their E3, and it just seemed like Microsoft just said fuck video games at their first showing of the Xbox One, and a lot of people didn't like that shit, and so yeah, it gave them, they started off pretty terrible because of that, and it's basically sticking with them. But so I'm going to give my personal opinion or thought on it, and I personally think that well, I have two thoughts actually. Okay, the first thought is, okay, with a new console, when a new console comes out, it needs something to push it. Like, you're not just gonna, well, maybe this works for some people, but personally it doesn't work for me. But when you release a new console, bro, you need new games. Like, you need new games. New games are the thing. You need games in order for people to want to go out and purchase your product. Without games, then what exactly do you have? I mean, then again, maybe this may work for Microsoft, because Microsoft have been heavily pushing backwards compatibility, and people get to play all of their old games on their new console. So, I mean, maybe it works differently, because with PlayStation, people are expecting to see new games. But with Microsoft, it's kind of like, oh yeah, backwards compatibility, okay, blah blah blah, whatever. But personally for me, um, if I purchase a new console and it's a new generation, I'm gonna want new games. I'm not gonna want to play. Okay, say there was a PS5 or whatever. I'm not gonna want to play PlayStation 4 games. I don't. No, no, no. Let me rephrase that. I'm not gonna want to play games that I heavily played on my PlayStation 4 on my PlayStation 5 as a way to start the generation out. Like, they need at least a couple of new games to really push this thing, because they're really riding hard on this, and the games that's supposed to come forward, the first parties, and I don't know, well, the exclusives, let me say it like that. So I don't think really too many people, I think at this point though, a lot of fans are kind of like, yeah, Phil Spencer's just mostly all talk now, and they're just not really feeling them like they were in previous years, just due to the fact that we've seen all these games being canceled for the Xbox One. We've heard news of a game that was supposed to come out for the Xbox One upon release, but that was also canceled. I believe it was called Stormlands. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that was canceled, and it just seemed like since Phil Spencer's been in charge, at first it was, it was bomb, it was good, he was definitely doing better than the last guy. But nowadays it just seemed like, yeah, like, it's just like, I don't know, it just seemed like he kind of pushing the Xbox, well, in my opinion at least, it just seemed like he's pushing the Xbox down, not bringing it up. Uh, so, I mean, personally believe that if the Scorpio drops, it's gonna need to have some fresh content, because I mean, people, well, definitely with the sales of Halo, and how it's not hitting Halo numbers as it was on the 360 and the original Xbox One. Let me say it like that: original Xbox One, y'all. And Halo isn't hitting numbers like he used to, and Gears isn't hitting numbers like he used to, and Forza isn't hitting numbers like he used to. They need to come out with some fresh content. We need fresh new ideas, and that's what I admire about Sony, is even if a game does terrible, and my phone is ringing, wow, let's just wait for that to stop ringing. Even if the game flops hard for Sony, they still keep pushing forward. They at least tried with new ideas for video games, and they aren't just rehashing the same old ideas, and they're trying new things, which is the thing I like about them. So Microsoft just need to learn to take more risks with their games and ideas, because it seems like every time a game gets canceled or Microsoft stops supporting it and the developer comes out, it's because they'll usually say because Microsoft was rushing us because they wanted to have some footage at their E3 or this event or whatever, and they just want to have some footage out, and they just keep pressuring and pushing the developers, and then the developers get frustrated, and then we see cancellations, and then after the developers stop dealing with Microsoft, then they come out and say, yeah, well, this is what they made us do, this is how far they pushed us, and blah blah blah. So I don't know. I just think Microsoft need to work on having a better relationship with their developers. They need to have some patience with their developers and just let them do their thing. And I bet you they'll have more gold than they can count. But right now they don't really have any gold because Halo and Gears and Forza isn't really kicking it for a lot of people anymore. And it's not really enough of a reason for people to get an Xbox console anymore. So yeah, they definitely need some new content. And I agree with this developer. I don't I agree slightly with this developer, let me say that, but then again, like I said before, new console, you need new games. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna get a new console and you don't have no freaking games for it. So yeah, yeah, and also, yeah, because the Xbox install base isn't really huge. The Xbox install base isn't really like huge, so yeah, I mean, it's going to be a huge transition for people, and especially with all the speculation of how much the Scorpio will cost, because let's be serious, this isn't going to be some minuscule console, and I don't expect a minuscule price either, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, all the talk and the PR talk is literally all it's looking like. It's just a bunch of talk. We need to see a lot more action than more talk, because yeah. So with all of that being said, I'm going to leave the question of the day, and you guys can let me know what you personally think about this situation. And thank you for watching and commenting and subscribing if you did. It is definitely appreciated. Thank you for those who have stuck around for as long as you did, and I will talk to you guys later. Deuces.